Version, published in 1901, which was a revision of the King James Version, published in 1611. I'm just going to let you know that's a deceptive statement. It was not a revision. It is a different text. And I'm going to show you why it's a different text. And we can go into that later. But it says, the first English version of the Scriptures made by direct translation from the original Hebrew and Greek, and the first to be printed was the work of William Tyndale. He met bitter opposition. He was accused of willfully perverting the meaning of Scriptures, and his New Testaments were ordered to be burned as an untrue translations. He was finally betrayed into the hands of his enemies in October 15th, 1936, and in October 1536 was publicly executed and burned at the stake. Yet Tyndale's work became the foundation of subsequent versions in English, notably the Coverdale, 1535, Thomas Matthew, probably pseudonym for John Rogers, 1537 Great Bible, the 1539 the Geneva Bible, 1560, and the Bishop's Bible, 1568, and 1582 a translation of New Testament made by the Latin Vulgate by the Roman Catholic scholars was published at Rheims, and that's what we call the Douay Rheims. The translators who made the King James Version took into account all of these preceding versions, and comparison shows that it owes something to each one of them. It kept fallacious phrases and apt expressions from whatever source which had stood the test of public usage. It owned most, especially in the New Testament, to Tyndale. I would disagree with that as well, too. I would say that actually, from my understanding, the King James used Erasmus' text the most. And so it's interesting that they don't really talk about the Erasmus text. And you have it's not only just Erasmus, you have the Stephanus text, you have the Erasmus text, you have the Beza text. Those are going to be, that's where they came from. So I'm not really sure why they're saying they relied so much on the Tyndale. But anyways, they're saying that they relied on an English version. And I don't believe that. If you take the Tyndale to the King James, you'll see scores and scores and scores of differences. And so I truly believe there's a huge difference. It's the same manuscripts. It's the same texts, roughly, because they're both from a Textus Receptus. But the Textus Receptus of Stephanus, Beza, and Erasmus is all slightly different. And so I don't think that's an accurate way of portraying what they're trying to get to here. The King James Version has been, with good reason, been termed the noblest monument of English prose. Its revisers in 1881 expressed admiration for its simplicity, its diligent dignity, its power, its happy turns of expression, the music of its cadence, and the felicities of its rhythm. It entered, as no other book has, into making of the personal character and public institutions of the English-speaking people. Basically, what they're saying is that this Bible, the King James, has the most. It's the most notable book ever. Yet the King James Version has grave defects. So that's just a bold statement, and that's not true. It does not have grave defects. By the middle of the 19th century, the development of biblical studies and the discovery of many manuscripts more ancient than those upon which the King James Version was based made it manifest that these defects are so many and so serious as to call for revision of the English translation. The task was undertaken by authority of the Church of England in 1870.